All right, this is Mike, and I am incredibly excited. This is a really rare look at the deep inside of really at this point an super affiliate marketing superstar. And this is a real privilege for me because this is somebody who I count as a friend and who I've known for years and years and years. I knew him when he was still a humble, not so super affiliate. I don't, he was always super, but when he was not nearly as successful. This is actually Greg Morrison's business partner. He's also partnered with another OMGer named Tim Schmidt on some of his projects, and it's Martin Lotsberg. And if you go back to the very beginning of OMG, to OMG's humble beginnings, Martin was an integral part as we developed OMG. He's been a partner with Greg Morrison for so long, but he really helped with so much with helping a lot of OMGers get started, not just with affiliate marketing, but a brilliant, like one of the brilliant on-page SEOs that has ever existed. There may be no better, by the way.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, when it comes to on-page SEO, but certainly in his own right. And so this is really, really exciting. Actually, I should have pulled up. I guess I'll go ahead and pull up. Let me just quickly pull up to give folks an idea of the kind of thing that we're dealing with here. Greg sent me some screen captures recently, and I'm just going to pull up just one of them here really quick. This is just nuts, Martin. This is just one website, and I believe this sales is still just staggering. $693,415 in sales. You can just see it steady throughout. Steady Eddie goes. And so Martin, thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be an exciting session.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike.
It's been a while since we've done a little OMG training together, but I know so many people really love the early days. You actually put out some training on some of our early Web 2.0 moves back when Squid was the thing, and a lot on-page SEO, and certainly some insights into affiliate marketing. You have, a ton of in the trenches experience with affiliate marketing, version with affiliate marketing, and of course with on-page SEO. So let me just get us started off. How did, for folks who haven't met you, or people even who literally need a refresher at this point, how did you get your start?
How did I start? It definitely evolved. Way back, I started helping Greg on some client SEO consulting with ranking websites for clients and stuff like that.
Now, how did you meet Greg, and what was the backstory behind that?
I met him through a course of yours. 4 years ago now, I think. And it just kind of, it was, I didn't see it really coming, but we just worked together. I helped him out, did some work for him, and it just evolved from there. There came a time later where he had an affiliate idea and wanted to try it, and asked me if I wanted to be involved, and I said absolutely. And then it just went from there, and we've tried a few different, it's just endless, all the different affiliate things out there, and lots and lots of just trying different things, and and up until today.
To give people an idea, I believe your first $1 million affiliate site was in, at least $1 million in sales. It had to be the gold niche. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
But you have been in niche after niche after niche, from health, lots of different angles. Greg is a real health buff, and I think what you wind up doing. And by the way, is it correct? Did you wind up answering a forum post that Greg had? Is that how you guys met, or it was like in the early days? Again, this is literally almost pre-OMG.
Yeah, I think it was a forum post, help wanted type of thing.
Huh.
And yeah, then just from there.
And I guess the great news, because you've been involved with OMG from the very beginning, you're really one of the integral individuals. If people go back and look at our YouTube channel, you're one of our very, very first earnings reports that we ever had, and just really incredible success. But it also really goes to show that JVs do happen in a big way. And of course, it was
Absolutely.
Greg Morrison, but there's lots of others that have gone on. Now that a lot of the sites that you and Greg have gone after. Greg's a huge health fund for people who don't know him all that well. He's ripped and he's done all kinds of things to improve his health. You guys also did the gold and celebrating the precious metals. So Greg invested in that for a while. But a lot of your guys' stuff overall has to do with various health issues, like when you did the Insanity versus P90X sites. But you guys have done it. I mean, you name it, you guys have done it.
Yeah. Yep.
So now, of course, this is a little bit of getting warmed up here. Now, why did you guys gravitate? Greg actually really got mostly his start with what we call SEO client consulting nowadays, where he was building out sites for a number of clients. One client, I think in particular, you guys really struck a rich vein, and that was a lot of to kind of focus in on things. A lot of your early beginnings was building out sites in, again, this was a health niche, had to do with addictions, various addictions. How many sites do you think that you helped build out? And this is nice because it gives people some different angles and some different context on things.
Oh, there was a lot back there. A couple hundred probably.
And
there's a lot of sites going on. Yeah.
These were SEO'd sites, and this is actually literally, again, this was in the either right on the dividing line, probably in the days. I don't want to say exactly pre-OMG days, because with OMG there was a build up to it where we were building out various. Well, you probably were the one who built out those very, very early case study sites that we did just in the very bare bones stuff, like when we were doing, Baton Rouge Architects. And,
oh yes, yep. I did those. Yep.
And so you were building out these various sites, and this is actually literally to give people an idea before we were even really using PBNs.
Yep, that was just completely just as a demonstration.
Yeah. And even that first couple $1 million that Greg made, again, were PBN. Like that was in the days when we were really leveraging public blog networks like Unique Article Wizard, SYA, and so forth for backlink. Now, interestingly enough, you had to adapt, and this will be interesting to me. I hate to jump too far ahead to question number 4 here, because I know you're really literally a world master at on-page SEO, whether it's silos or just especially interlinking has always been a real power of yours. But out of curiosity, this is, we'll get back to this more later. How much has on-page SEO changed? Because we know that our linking strategy is completely different now. Instead of just jillions of cruddy links, we're just using really just very scientific, fine-tuned, one link here, one link there, very careful with the anchor text and URL relationship. And of course, anybody who wants to dig in with Greg can understand that. Of course, on-page SEO relates because you're setting up. I presumably Greg is somewhat prescribing what the URL structure is going to be, but you're mostly, I presume, still handling things from there.
Yeah. I'm pretty much 100% on site, and with the ones that we do, Greg does all the off-site stuff, and I really just focus on that. I don't even really ask him about what he does off the sites, and just try to stay good at what I'm doing.
And what you're doing is basically going to be a combination of conversion, but SEO conversion. So it's like, you're making sure that, for example, if someone comes to one of your gold sites, that okay, yes, it's persuasive. Yes, it's going to get them over to an affiliate program or something like that. If it's a P90X or Insanity site for a workout or something like that, that you deliver them to the vendor's sales page in
Hmm.
in the right mood and so forth. But you're also dealing with the whole issue of SEO ranking, like kind of having that page ready to rank for as many keywords as possible.
Yep. Exactly.
And how much?
That definitely
Go ahead.
just that seems to definitely be one direction is many more keywords for just one page. Even though we did do that to an extent before, but it's definitely as much as you can soak out of like a page like that, more so as far as how many you rank for and all that.
So nowadays, um, one of the things that I think you're indicating to me is that uh, a given web page on a website or Web 2.0 property probably really rank for a lot of keywords these days. Is that you're kind of tipping your
Ab-
hand to that?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, this is
It's definitely. I mean, we certainly had many more. We'd have more pages for more keywords, and now as much as we can consolidate similar terms, and that'll all be suitable for that um, page, we'll do that as much as possible.
yeah. This is gonna be incredible. All right,
And
great.
it works better too.
Right. In these sites, you're getting great stability. You took a little bit of a bump back in say October, November of last year,
Yeah.
right as we were leaving
Hmm.
national. But that was more. We found out in the end more of a server issue. It
Hmm.
wasn't really an issue even with the backlinks or with the on page setup of the site. It was more
Right.
that there was just basically a mistake in how the servers are set up. But otherwise,
Hmm.
for the most part, these sites have been extremely stable for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good.
Great. All right. So let's talk about how it is that you keep it fresh, because really, both from a conversion and from an SEO standpoint, you've continued to gain ground and gain ground. This might a little bit put you on the spot, but if you were to kind of go into your mind and think about like how really is it that you've kept it fresh, what would you say to people about that?
One way is absolute like I would say things that I've been personally involved with that I promote, I've kept it much more fresh. When you mentioned the gold, I wasn't personally investing gold and all that stuff, and so hands-on um, with the stuff that we're promoting, things that I actually use, uh, and really immersing in the market, um, whatever it is, just studying it, sort of just, you know, immersion in the market and using it myself are two ways that I think are a big help with that and staying, especially these days, I think that staying very current with whatever it is that you're doing. People love new stuff. The internet makes information travel so fast, and the early bird gets the worm kind of thing. If you can, it's kind of like when you do, uh, I forgot what you call it now, but product launches, and you're the first one to put up a site for a certain product.
Yeah, launch jacking.
Launch checking, yep, that's it. Similar to that, where if you can have the content up early, that can also help with SEO and also sales, having
So,
it up soon.
so let's imagine we were doing, let's say CrossFit, because Greg is very successful with CrossFit. It's something he does personally. He's passionate about. And
Hmm.
Liz and I have talked about how that's a really hot up and coming niche on Amazon. So let's say that
Mm.
you and Greg really wanted to get into CrossFit and
Hmm.
sell physical products, say from Amazon and other sites, jump
Yep.
ropes, and they have the hand grips and they have compression shorts and so forth. Then you yourself might really just go and just do CrossFit and just get into it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good thing to do anyways, I think so. But absolutely something like that.
And,
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
then some of the things that you would start picking up on are, hey, let's there's going to be diet trends. There's going to be supplements that people
Yes,
they're
yes.
doing cross.
That's huge. All the residual connected areas that, sort of spread out. You just sort of pick it up from being in it, and then there's all these things you never would have thought of. And then you go and if say you're doing some keyword research just by whatever, and then you hear these things that wow, I never thought of that. Go look it up at the keyword tool. Holy, you practically discover a whole niche. And then especially if you can connect it together like that, where, oh, you want to do CrossFit? Well, you're definitely going to want this, or even better is this is what I did, and then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So again, to help people understand this, and I've had a lot of success myself when it comes to conversion, especially working with David Mills. Um, I remember back in the early days of doing product launches, then
Hmm.
then me and David would get contacted by a lot of people, and they would want us to do a launch for them, and then we would try to understand what the product was, and they'd be like, "Oh,
Mm.
great," and we're like, "Okay, well, great that it's great, but what is it?" You know? And
Hmm.
I remember particularly an SEO offer that we did back in 2007, I want to say. And it's funny because the people we were doing the launch with, they did know SEO. I know that for a fact. I saw it. In fact, this is a crazy thing. It was actually some of the first people who knew about private blog networks and buying, either expired domains or auction domains with PBN. So we were right at the cusp of it because we could see this is back in the days where PageRank was everything before domain authority and trust flow and all that stuff. And they didn't want to talk about PBNs in the offer. And that left us really strapped because all they could really talk about is on-page SEO and kind of getting links by kind of begging for them
Hmm.
from vendors out there. There's a kind of a reason I say this. And the problem was we were basically halfway through the launch when they decided to pull PBNs out of the offer to
Mm.
have them be involved in the offer, which was pretty horrifying. Anyways, here's the upshot of it. And it's the opposite of what Martin's saying. Martin's saying is the right thing. What I wound up having to do was write an offer almost based on what I would call science fiction. I almost created like a science fiction offer. I was like, well, what the hell do I say? Like what kind of like what's left. I mean, what's left was pretty good, but it was not what they did. So it was
Mm.
all so weird. Like
Mm.
we were
Mm.
basically like inventing some different SEO that they didn't really do that was
Mm.
effective, but nowhere near to the power level that they had. And anyways, you're like for example, what you're saying is when you were in precious metals, it was a struggle. I remember you had some coins and stuff like that. I believe you did, right? Like a couple. I remember
Yep.
you telling me,
Yep.
like, but it was almost detached for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Whereas, for example, like we're saying, if you wanted to get into, let's say you guys were getting heavy into CrossFit and putting up a bunch of CrossFit sites, then just to you at this point, there's just no question that you would just go out, hit it in the gym, hang out with CrossFit guys and gals, talk to them about what supplements they're taking, what gear, what are their
Hmm.
shoes. You're just
Absolutely.
very inquisitive about that kind of stuff. And it's literally what you're doing today.
Hmm.
You actually recently, in one of the markets that you guys are in, I'm not going to say what it is, but in one of the markets that you're in, you're so passionate about it that you and your sister actually just opened a brick and mortar store in that.
Yep. Yep. In that market.
So you're basically like eating, sleeping, and breathing this particular niche.
Exactly. Yep.
So
Yep.
the way to keep it fresh is to be immersed in it. Is kind of what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And we don't say that as a cliche thing. I mean, that's just the bottom line, like,
No. No.
and like,
It's really
good.
so many ways. Just I mean, one thing. It's just nowadays people are well read. People are very internet savvy, and it it pays to. I mean, you need to sort of know what you're talking about. there's so many websites to choose from nowadays that
And
if, you know,
and what you mean is that people, like the customer, can spot it.
mm-hmm,
Like if you
yep,
don't have the fresh stuff, then
mm-hmm,
it's almost like the customer, they can almost even like sense it.
absolutely. And also pricing and, everything. The full customer experience in that way. You don't want to have, you want to make sure that you're knowledgeable. Like you don't want to have gold that's triple the price or.
Right.
Or
The things that are just going to trip people's, like serve almost as like landmines for your customer, like emotional landmines for them.
yeah, and the, you know, they'll just go somewhere else. There's usually a lot of competition in most things.
And I want to point out that that this all these things, like for example, you guys have sold an enormous amount of physical products that you could have been just selling. Like you could have been private labeling some of your own products, for example. Um,
Hmm.
and so you have an enormous amount of experience. So if somebody's particularly interested in Amazon and e-commerce right now, pay attention
Hmm.
because what you're saying really, really serves for that. Is that? I don't want to lead you, but is that? Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, yeah. The It's kind of like almost like going down the rabbit hole. Like when you go into a niche and you just kind of realize how much commerce is happening online, and so do a lot of other companies. So if you choose something, look around too, because there's quite often you just search for whatever it is, like on in Google, and then see who else selling it, and yeah, it can be a gold mine like that.
Like other affiliate programs and such.
Yes, yeah.
And they're really when you say about going down the rabbit hole, for example, um, there'll be vendors where I mean, most of these vendors, you guys are now at this point successful enough that they'll reach out to you.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes there's so many, you can't even really reply to them all. But yeah, they typically will. I mean, that's the point where you've got some SEO rankings. Typically, because they found you, and then yeah, they'll reach out to you. And sometimes certain vendors will try to make an offer of some sort. There's all sorts of different ways that they can make offers of.
Sort of
Um,
for exclusivity, like what kind of things are they offering you, and which ones are beneficial and which ones are not?
it'll pretty much be performance based. They might actually pay a higher commission rate um, for the more that you drive to them. They might offer a bonus at a certain level or a higher commission rate. Um, and then on that note, it's also good to just take a look into the affiliate programs because they're all they can all be a little different, and you can look at how they are structured for if you're into affiliate stuff, you probably know about recurring commissions and customer retention, and um, you find a program that's got really good customer retention, which you kind of find out trial and error because they'll tell you that it's great, but you find out when the rubber hits the road. Um, and yeah, and so it's researching in that way and trying stuff like that, and then trying different offers. And so you always find out by actually doing it,
Um,
rather than
what you're saying. I remember talking to Brad Howard about Venus Factor, which for a long time was the number one offer on ClickBank. It's a women's fitness offer,
yeah.
and he would say, he would just immediately go into wheeling and dealing mode when he would start talking to an affiliate.
Hmm.
If you'll move such and such volume, because the way they had it set up was that there was a front end offer that paid out really juicy, but the recurring billings they kept all of it unless you hit certain numbers.
Yep, yep, just like that.
Now, of course, somebody watching this might say, well, that's kind of a barrier to entry. But sometimes these barriers to entry are kind of good because the
Hmm.
reality is that's going to keep away a lot. It's going to keep motivation a lot lower for a lot of your affiliate competition. Uh,
Hmm.
Whereas, once you break through that barrier, you're kind of in a different place. Let me ask you this. I'm kind of curious. Do you see you see a lot in the various markets that you're in, um, compared to, let's say, this time in 2013, say June of 2013. We're now in June of 2015 as we shoot
Hmm.
this. Not to kind of date things.
Hmm.
Of course, there's going to be valuable material, even if you're watching this in 2016 or 2017, but or beyond. But what is a competition in your mind? What are the differences in the competitiveness of the markets that you're in? Are there more affiliates, less affiliates, smarter, dumber? Like, more people discouraged by the SEO updates, or people working even harder? What would you say the difference is, the affiliate landscape today as, say, 2 years ago?
Um, I would say it's similar. Um, although, because I hear those things about SEOs that come along every once in a while, and I feel that maybe that makes some people discouraged, and in a way that could probably help the competition. When, people just say, "Oh, this sounds too tough, I'm not going to do it." But it's pretty similar, I guess, now as it was then. Um,
But at this point, you guys are, realistically speaking, making a lot more money in affiliate commissions in 20.
yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah,
that true?
yep, yeah, yeah, and but also with something that comes along from just trying different things, even things that weren't super successful, whether it be a whole niche or just keyword sets, you learn to fine tune it and go after the things that are more successful, and so your efforts are more fruitful faster.
I've really seen this when it comes to Amazon. One of the things that we've been working a lot in recently is retail arbitrage, where an individual, like, literally even go out to a store like a Target or Tuesday mornings, and they'll scan barcodes and see if there's a margin to be made on Amazon. Like let's say, you
Hmm.
can a pair of sneakers, and
Mm-hmm.
it just turns out that you can buy those sneakers, at Target for, $20 and sell them on Amazon for $50. Then you buy those sneakers. But the thing is, being in the game changes everything, because
Yeah.
you gain such an experience, such a richness. Because
Mm-hmm.
people that are sitting on the sideline, kind of trying to be perfect, or trying to, like, learn everything before they put up their first affiliate site,
Mm.
do their first client consulting thing. It
Mm.
really makes a huge difference.
Huge. It's like the learning that you get from, even if you put up a website and you feel like it was a total failure in some way, it's still probably so much more that you learn from that than just from sitting on the sidelines and trying to figure it out first. I put up a whole bunch of websites on my own that just really didn't do much, but I learned a lot from them.
Yeah, I remember back in the days when we were acting the URLs that you'd bought. I remember
Hmm.
Nashville.
Yeah, I
Um,
figured.
Now let's dig into some real specifics. This is going to be an exciting two segments here. Let's get into best practices, conversion,
Hmm.
and then on-page SEO. Best practices, conversion, and here let's make it even better. Best practices and worst practices. So let's talk conversion. And let's imagine, it's going to be a little bit of science fiction because I know you're not a CrossFit guy, but we'll use that as an example because it's very rich and very broad. It can include information and physical products. And so
Hmm.
that's kind of thing. You've sold a lot of information products, and you've sold a lot of physical products as well. So you have
Yep.
a good range of understanding with this. And you've spent a ton of time in the health, wellness, and fitness market yourself,
Hmm.
between early addiction niches and all the Insanity P90X stuff that you've done, supplements, all this kind of stuff that you and Greg have worked in. So it's definitely in your wheelhouse. Best
Hmm.
practices and worst practices for conversion?
One of the first best practices I think is stepping back a little bit and using a little common sense with what it is that you're doing. Like, because it's easy to want to sort of be like a cookie cutter technique and just copy what you just saw. But if it was an entirely different subject matter, because you want to think about the flow of the reader and where they're coming from and what they're looking for, and then how to deliver that to them. And it's going to be different if you're selling frying pans or if you're selling supplements for CrossFit. You know, um, some things may take a little explaining, um, and that's sort of what the mental framework I would take for laying out a piece of content in that way to start. And then the other part of that is real world experience, what actually happens, and then setting up ways that you can follow what gets the most clicks and where people go. There's different forms of those heat maps and all that you can look at, and you can also set up the link things where you can track them, like go codes, and see what's getting the most clicks and things like that, and just try something and see what the results are, and that's really like coming up with a plan and then implementing it and seeing what the results are, assessing it, and trying something else.
So let me get this straight. One of the things that you're using is like this kind of like heat map technology where I remember they had, what was it called? Something egg. They had something where it would do, like right now on the screen, I'm moving my mouse around, and they would follow the scrolling and the mouse movements and kind of create like a movie for you. Um,
Yeah, I want to say I actually said that, but I don't personally use it. But I know it was out there. I more of the click-throughs myself, but I knew that that was one of the things that a lot of people do use. I could probably use that too and probably improve even more, but
so
I just
when
wanted
you
to.
say click throughs, like what is it that you're monitoring on your, like what are you using to monitor customer and prospect action on your website to kind of like what kind of tracking are you using to inform you as to what's going on in your website?
I have this one it's a plugin that shows which pages are getting the most visits. It's a WP statistics. And then I look at you can add go codes. It's just a free plugin. And what I'll do is I'll rename different links because like on a heavy traffic page, um, I'm mainly looking for who's clicking through where and what's causing the clicks. Because one of the things with affiliate marketing is when you get click-throughs, they're cookied, and then you pretty much get a sale um, once they click through. So you want to encourage click-throughs like that. And then I'll look because it might be, you know how you can basically write out the web URL, but that'll be your affiliate link. And then also sometimes an image will get tons of clicks. And so I'll make sure that images are clickable and things like that, and then look at what's getting clicks.
And what will you do based on them getting clicked? Does it kind of just give you ideas to add on other pages, or to mess around with things that are not getting clicked? Give me a scenario here. So let's imagine we've got a page and it's on
Mm-hmm.
CrossFit, and let's say we're
Yep.
talking about doing CrossFit pull-ups because they have these pull-up bands for CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
CrossFit again is a kind of a workout. If anybody's getting kind of frustrated hearing me talk about CrossFit, look it up.
So I'll do a page and I'll have like a woman doing a pull-up, and then like sort of on the right side of the page, and I'll make it clickable, and I'll have a go code that you can track and see if it's getting clicks, and then below that I'll have a little content about pull-ups and and then I'll maybe, just for the sake of CrossFit, I'll say, so check out say it was CrossFit.com. Check out CrossFit.com. They're awesome, or whatever the call to action is. And then maybe even further down, I'll be like, and plus, if you're looking for some kind of supplements, try this. And I might um, make like the words "try this" into a hyperlink so you could click it. And then after that, it might say what it is, like the supplement name, or it could be check out this supplement at this website. And then everything will be clickable. And sometimes, actually more often than not, I'll be surprised, like everybody's clicking on the woman doing pull-ups and not the website where I'm sort of hoping to steer everybody that way, to the website, but they're actually clicking. And so, oh, okay. And then you kind of look at the page again and um, kind of figure it out that way.
And so, what changes would you make in that situation where like they're clicking on the picture, they're not clicking
Hmm.
the text? Is that an indication to you that the text isn't compelling, or that the picture is compelling and add another picture? What's it?
It would definitely
Right.
definitely depend, because another thing is it all depends on what, like, say you have a top five supplement list, right? Like number one is GNC this, number two is whatever, Twin Labs. Um, you'll see everybody clicking pictures on a page like that, and you're like, what the heck? Then you realize you gotta think there's gonna be a lot of people that come to a top five list, they're not even reading it. They're just looking at the number one and checking it out. And so, oh, okay. So I'll sort of think about those people, and then I'll try to compensate for people that I'll actually read through. And then you just test and see, like a top 10 list, which is always a good thing to do, of anything. That's always, especially just for selling something. Um, you do like the five best of this, and very often, it seems to me that people are very visual the way they shop with that kind of thing. And so in that case, make sure that you have affiliate links under the images that you're in, do images of the things that you want to sell and link to the affiliate programs.
Let's I did a webinar with Greg earlier tonight, and I'll relate something that he said again back to CrossFit. So let's say that one of the things you were doing is like linking out to Amazon pages selling CrossFit shoes. And
Hmm.
what Greg was saying is that you might say, well, I tried the Nike CrossFit shoes, and really they're great. They really good support, and good agility, and they're really great. The thing is, the reality is, they're about $20 more than the Pumas or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and the FUBUs are even $10 less than that, and they are it's a different brand of shoe, and really, in my opinion, they don't look very good. But if you're on a budget, they're not quite the same level of arch support and so forth. And they definitely, in my opinion, don't look as good. But you're saving $30, and if you're kind of in between, then maybe go with the Puma, or something like that.
Hmm.
But he very much, when he's doing reviews, he was talking about how when he is doing reviews, to really um, break things out and make sure that each thing that
Mm.
kind of has its own personality.
Yeah, yeah. And even, um, I mean, certainly putting your own voice in it, but if you were talking about the shoes, like one little thing, like you could point out because somebody's just reading along and you're like, this one's $30 more. But then again, these are the shoes that you're wearing all the time, and shoes can have an influence on your everything, like the type, the shoes that you wear. So it could be worth $30.
I just bought a bed that cost more than the first car about twice as much as the first car that I ever bought. First car, by the way, first car, actually, no, first car I ever bought was an RX-7.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I love those.
God, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. The bed I just bought, now, of course, there's inflation since then, but let's just forget about that for a second. The first car, so the bed I just bought was more than three times more than the first RX-7 I bought. It was a used RX-7. And,
Hmm.
um, but I was into it, and I'll tell you, I almost bought a bed that was twice as expensive. Okay. So it was, I'll tell you, it was more than 10 grand. I thought about buying a bed that was more than 20 grand. And I'm
That's
not saying
awesome.
everyone's in that position. It's just, I've never anything like that before. But it finally hit me. Gosh dang it, I'm spending a third of my life in this thing because I sleep
Hmm.
8 hours.
Absolutely.
And what you just said, my point is people hit different stages of their life, right?
Yeah.
Where, you were just talking about cars. You bought one Mustang and then 2 weeks later you traded it in.
Yeah.
The reason I say this is what people need to know about affiliate marketing is that your customer is down the rabbit hole. At the point where they are searching the internet, at the point where they are reading websites, reading reviews, going through this stuff, they are functionally obsessed.
Hmm.
Not maybe for their whole life. I'm not saying they need to go to the insane asylum, but they are so focused on this topic. If it's CrossFit, this is a major part of their social life, right?
Yep.
They're thinking about it's a major part of their self-esteem, both in terms of the social side of it and in terms of certain goals they fit for themselves, how much weight they're lifting. There are actually competitions involved with CrossFit. I know there was it was funny because when those we talked about those November updates, right? Those September, November, or it was October, November updates from 2014
Hmm.
when Nashville SEO got hit and KLKS got hit and a couple of our sites got hit. And I don't know if you remember this, but Greg was actually at a CrossFit competition and he was freaking out, but he didn't want to let his team
Mm.
down. Do you remember that?
Hmm. I do. I remember he was at a competition. Yeah.
But so it's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
So here it was, and of course, Greg. Just so everybody knows, like Greg, the whole point is that Greg does not like to let people down. So it was,
Never.
he was literally in
No.
a rock and a hard place. Not literally, but he was figuratively in between a rock and a hard place.
I seem to remember he figured out a way to communicate too, even from maybe by
Oh
his
yeah, no,
phone or something.
yeah, he was very communicative. He was, but his teammates are really, he's very good. And they were really counting on him. And it is, and what you got to live your life. What are you going to do? But my point
Yeah.
in saying that is that if you kind of put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's involved, these involvement stuff for kids, right? You got somebody
Hmm.
who's a mom, and a big part of their identification, they're a part of the mom club, and so birthdays and soccer practices and back to school and all this stuff. It's a whole thing unto itself. Dave Mills's wife is interested in early childhood development. So that's like a whole thing unto itself. She's in in a Facebook group, at least one Facebook group, and she goes, meets with local, women in her area and this and that. So it goes down the rabbit hole. And I think a lot of what you're saying is you go down the rabbit hole because your customer is going down the rabbit hole.
Hmm. Yep.
Now let's talk about the actual reviews themselves. I've seen review videos that you've done. They're excellent. You still do review
Thanks.
videos? And what are some best practices, worst practices for review videos?
I honestly left some of my worst ones up. 'Cause I figured sometimes people look at my videos, see what I was doing. I started off holding a cell phone in my hand, so it was really shaky. Um, but um, I first thing I did was get just a regular camera with a little tripod, and then I did my later reviews just facing something that was light colored, so there was contrast, so you could see what I was doing, and then um, try to just deliver what they're gonna want to hear. Um, Not like just what they want to hear, but uh, what people are searching for. If you say a video is about this, then tell them about that. Because everyone's gone and seen videos and it's like, what the heck is this? That's not at all what I was looking for. The title's completely misleading, or they this huge intro that's not even to do with it. And so I try to just deliver what people are looking for, and um, you can have a reasonable quality if you're just doing little handmade review videos with just, like a $200 camera from Best Buy, and it usually comes with a tripod, and that can do some pretty good quality stuff. For someone that's doing their own like I was. I've seen lots of, professional style, but if you're just doing product reviews, and I think something goes for that sort of handmade feel, homemade feel. Um, because you mentioned KLKS, that's a very, very homemade sort of looking website, and it, oddly enough, really converted really well that way. With our faces on there and just really um, like sort of homemade looking reviews, in my opinion. That's the way I thought they looked, and we're just always surprised, like, wow, this doesn't look like a really professional, super duper site, and it just does really well, seemingly because of the little bit of personal element and um, maybe even slightly imperfect,
And yet
you know?
I've known you for years at this point, and you are not, Mr. Outgoing. You're not like
No, no, no,
you're
definitely
literally.
not.
I would almost describe you as shy. And
A little bit.
Greg is basically a shy.
Yeah.
Like Greg is,
Yeah.
he's, so you guys are both very shy.
We met up because a company flew us to Florida, and we just kind of we wouldn't say much, but we look at each other like, "Yep." It's funny.
No, yeah, Greg does that big wide-eyed thing when he's kind of feeling a little bit embarrassed. Uh,
But then after we ate, we were full. Like we just had this huge dinner. He's like, "I'm going to the gym now." I'm like, "You gotta be." So I went to because I could not go. He's just an animal.
no, Greg is literally amazing. I've lost probably 40 pounds since I met Greg. I'm the best shape that I've been in 20 years,
Wow.
just by osmosis. I mean, no, it's just nuts.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
That's not easy.
It's not easy being breezy. All right. Let's talk about some worst practices. What are some of the disaster moves that you've made that have killed conversion? Things that you've done where you're like, ugh, don't do that again.
Mm. Well, it's kind of the opposite of what I was saying for best, which is not using logic, not thinking. Um, I think you want to kind of just kind of step back from something you do and make sure it's not too cluttered, and make sure it's sort of just like what I was saying about videos. Make sure that it's about what you are ranking for, what the page is about, um, and not like don't just put links up and you know um, just make it sort of flow a little bit with whatever the subject matter is, and when it comes time, then say, check it out here, buy it here. But otherwise, don't just throw up like affiliate links, because you could see that people, they'll, you know, that whole thing where you look at a page and you decide in half a second whether you're even going to stay on it or not. And if it's just all um, too salesy or something, right away they'll probably bounce. And trying to think, what did I do that I was like, ooh, I one thing looking back on the gold actually, they talked about making it personal and this and that, and I sort of just threw up a picture of myself and it wasn't a professional looking picture. And that's, fine and all. But looking back, I probably wouldn't do that. I'd put on like a suit. This is like a precious metals thing where somebody might spend $1 million. And I would, if I was going to put a picture, I'd make it look professional to go along with what I was doing. So, um, it's kind of the common sense thing again.
Yeah.
But
It's funny. One of the reasons I got my GTR back in the day, was
I love that.
at the time I had nowhere to film video, and it was driving me nuts. You know, like I just didn't particularly have my home set up properly to shoot videos at it,
Mm,
and it just looked. Everything was just like, it was just like, you know. And
hmm
when I got the GTR, it was just nice. It was also funny to me because you told me that Becker was always posting his stupid Lamborghini and his Ferrari, and
I didn't say stupid.
well, but you show me all these videos of the
Yeah.
GTR just crushing
Oh,
Ferraris.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, they're crazy.
Don't get Martin started on a GTR. So, anyways, so I loved it because it just had that mix of things where I got it with a red leather interior. Look, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go out and buy a GTR. What I'm saying is I'm talking about market to message match. And this is before I was wearing, jackets. Like nowadays, I really like wearing jackets and
Mm,
stuff like that.
mm,
Back then, it was still the rock, still rock and roll mic. Those the hats and the pretty grungy LA rock and roll stuff. But I got the
hmm
GTR and I would just shoot driving and talking videos, and it was great. I mean, it was pretty fun, and I think it made a connection for people where it made like a
mm,
decent amount of sense. And what was interesting was I didn't do it so people would focus on the GTR. I did it so people wouldn't be weirdly enough, so people wouldn't be distracted. So it kind of just
mm,
checked the boxes where they could just relax and listen to me. And I think
hmm
what you're kind of saying with the gold side is you put up a picture of Rock and Roll Martin, it's like,
Right,
well, they get
exactly.
buy $1 million of gold. They don't want to buy gold from Rock and Roll Martin.
Like this beach bum, this surfer dude's gonna sell me gold? What?
Right. Yeah, literally doesn't make sense. Uh,
No.
now, whereas this is something where you've really, time to time leveraged, for example, Greg's passion for workouts. I mean, I know we've done some sites. I actually had a site with you and Greg doing Insanity and P90X where we'd have
hmm
Greg's ripped 6-pack abs, his
Yeah.
chest and all that shit all over the site, and went great. I mean, it converted great. So certainly, um, there's an overall feeling of clarity that we're going for. And
hmm
what we're saying is checking the box. Like if you can't check the box that the clarity is there, you're gonna lose the sale. So if we're doing
hmm
a CrossFit site, it's gotta look CrossFit authentic. A little
Yep.
raw. It could be a little grungy, right? Because it's CrossFit.
Absolutely.
Um,
Especially with CrossFit. I mean, if you looked up Greg Glassman, I think that's his name, he's all about that.
Greg, who?
Greg Glassman, I believe is his name, is the founder of CrossFit.
Right. And now, by way of comparison, let's say if we were doing Pilates, you wouldn't want grungy because Pilates
Mm.
is like soccer moms, right?
hmm Yeah.
Then you're going to be more clean,
Yep.
maybe pastels or very soft colors,
hmm
very clean lines. Um, some fonts that I might use on a CrossFit site. I could see using like 28 days later. So
Mm.
I could probably actually pull up. Let's talk for a second about fonts here.
Totally, though.
Um, so actually, weirdly enough, I have 28 days later up. So 28 days later.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep.
It's a great font, right?
Totally.
Like
Yep.
for a CrossFit kind of thing. And again, like
Hmm.
I'm not just talking to a friend. I mean, you're talking to Martin. How many $1 million in sales do you think that your sites have done in the last 3 years? Do you have a ballpark?
Couple million. Um, I don't know exactly, but a
'Cause
few million at least. At least. Oh man, probably over three.
this is the OMG font, by the way. Oh, that's a good one actually. It's kind of good for like cyber, OCRASTD. If you're doing something like kind of cyber, like a video game site or something like that.
Hmm.
It's 28 days later. Let me point to some of my favorite fonts here. Um, I use Hand of Sean a lot.
And the other thing too is when if you're doing something branded like CrossFit, Snagit has come through for me many times when you can just, snag a company logo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually instant
Yeah.
now. All right, so this is Hand of Sean, which is a great one. Let's see.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's another one I wanted to hit upon here. Kind of a grungy kind of look to it.
It's something like this. I'll sometimes, if there's a page performing well, I'll edit it a lot. You kind of sleep on it, look at it the next day, change something else. Like, you can just get the page up and look at it again tomorrow instead of not doing anything or feeling like it has to be perfect today or
Yeah, really, what Martin's talking about right now is very true, very, very like law of implication style, like really getting your sleeping straight. This is a big,
hmm
I use a lot, 28 day or extreme, but expensive.
letting sleeping on it for a day is like really awesome sometimes when you're especially when your mind just stops or you get confused.
All right, and this is a really good clean font, Myriad Pro. Okay,
Mm.
Myriad Pro, Myriad Pro. It's a really good clean font. I've got this bold, condensed italic.
Hmm.
That's really good. So that's a good clean one to go for. So we just gave you a few best practices in terms of different fonts to look at. So this is a good clean one. A really good grunge one is 28 days later.
I
Um,
love that one.
yeah, it's one of my favorites. And um, there's Hand of Sean also. Comic Sans is okay, but I like Hand of Sean a lot more actually. Hand of Sean, I use this a lot. Um, Very straightforward, just good for kind of writing notes to people and so on. So it's Impact's a pretty good one too, actually. A
Hmm.
little bit more professional then. Okay, so that's a little bit on fonts and a little bit on best practices. Okay, let's get to what will, for a lot of people, be the most exciting thing that we can talk about, which is on-page SEO. And this has
Hmm.
been a real main course here. Benefits include stuffing lots of keywords, and then another benefit is you get lots of keywords. And another great thing is getting just lots and lots of keywords. Would you say those would be like the three main benefits of really nailing your on-page SEO?
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. So Martin, I have talked to you for hours about this, and we have likened this to Martin's a big car racer, street racer, and there's no analogy which is turns out to be incorrect, but uh, they'll say that there's no replacement for displacement, and what that means is that they're talking about these big old engines and so forth. And how, but like a B12, this and that. But Martin
Hmm.
used to have was it a Dodge Neon?
It was, yep.
There was like a
The
V,
car was a legend.
yeah, it was a V4 instead of
Yeah.
12,
Four cylinder instead of an eight, yeah, or a 12, 10.
and
Yeah.
would blow like most anything off the road. but the reason why
Pretty much.
it was turbocharged.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to, that kind of turbocharging is something that really captures your heart. And I think that that's the thing that really jazzed you so much about on-page SEO, where you literally became uh, one of the greatest in the world at on-page SEO. So much so that you managed to like really merge it with conversion and really making it all work together. Um, so what's gosh, and I wish I had one of our old sites that I could pull up, like when you DAObadass.net. Really cool. I mean, you know what? I bet I can find those in Sprout and dust them off as long as people can watch them and not worry. That's a site that wound up paying a penalty because of something relatively silly that I did with SEO. But the on-page SEO of it was priceless, and you put that together just perfectly. That was not Dow of SEO, DAObadass.net, I think was the name of the site. So what's the fundamental when it comes to internet? You do it all. You do silos. You do,
Mm-hmm.
3-page websites. You do 200-page websites. Um, what are some of the foundational best practices? What's going on with on-page SEO?
Well, for one, I would definitely not just go too link crazy right away and just start linking, and not to over optimize either. It's always, Greg's safety net method is just as applicable on page SEO as well. And it gets a little bit, I get a little uh, scientific about it, I guess, but it definitely will depend whether you're siloing or not and things like that. In the case of a silo, it also depends how big the silo is and all that. Um, but some of these things will set up like site-wide links. If you have like a silo, and usually silos won't do that, but when you have like a site-wide link, like if there's a page that's on every sidebar in the whole website, um, that's going to basically have that same anchor text for all the pages. And so in that case, building links to that page, if I even did build any more, which I might not even want to because it's already got one on every page, I would definitely not use that same exact anchor text again. And so it's it definitely has to do with the site structure in that case, in that way, whether because you don't want to overdo it, like both with anchor text and too many links. And so I'll basically just like when I'm building a site out, I'll pretty much just kind of go a little slow with it, and I'll kind of bring that common sense thing back in, and I'll use the link when it makes sense. And then I'll also, there's the link diversity, like using a raw link down the bottom of a article or page, say like related article, and just paste the whole like URL, and then doing variations of that at the bottom of the article. There's so many different things when I start talking about them, like my brain's going. But
Well, let's back things up. This is awesome. One of the things that happens that people don't realize about
mhm,
page SEO, and this could be the takeaway that makes this video by this module by far valuable for people, is that a link on your site to another page on your site is still a link, and
yeah,
all of the same rules apply
mhm,
as if you're getting, let's say, by way of comparison, like to a PBN link. So here's what I mean. Hold up, snag it again for a second here. And I learned this from Martin, by the way. I did not know this before I became friends with Martin.
what's that?
I didn't know this. I literally didn't know this. It just somehow in all my years of SEO, it evaded me, literally. So let's say this is your, let's say this is a given web page on your site. And remember, different web pages, a site can have a bunch of different pages.
Hmm.
So let's say this is, say I have a marketing site called mikelong.com. And let's make this slash web design. Okay. It's mikelong.com slash web design. I don't have, I do own mikelong.com, but right now I'm not doing it. Okay, so let's say this page is mikelong.com slash web design. Then let's say that I've got another web page like a YouTube video link to it. So make a YouTube video. Change the color something. So let's say this is a YouTube video right here. Actually, let's change these colors just a little bit. Okay, so let's say this is a YouTube video. All right, and then it's linking to the site, and then let's say we have, another page that's a private blog network link that's linking to it. And some kind of ugly private blog network site. All right, whatever. All right, so let's say now we have a private blog network site. Now, obviously, the YouTube link is just going to be the URL link, mikelong.com/WD. That's all it can be, right?
Yeah.
But let's say this PBN, is, whatever, XYZ, is the name of the PBN, xyz.com or .net or whatever. And let's say the anchor text is, let's say, of course, web design, right, for example. All right. So if that's the anchor text, then of course we understand that that's important. And we can't have all these different links, bombarding mikelong.com/web design where they all say web design. We're going to really run into a problem at that point. We might put them in instead like site design or, let's say graphics design, whatever, like all kinds of different things that you can do. Webmaster, I don't know, whatever. All kinds of different stuff. All right.
Yeah.
You can use. Now, what people need to know, one of the fundamentals that people need to know is that let's say we have another page on our site that is linking back, right?
To the same one.
Yeah, it's going to, so let's say this page right here, this third page down, let's say that it's /SEO. So mikelong.com/SEO. Okay, let's say you're kind of going for, SEO Miami or whatever. So let's say mikelong.com is sort of like, let's say this is actually Miami web design for whatever reason. Okay. So mikelong.com/Miami web design, is the name of this web page right here that I'm indicating. And from YouTube with, that would be the URL link. Let's say our private blog network site, xyz.com, is then linking in, maybe it has a hyperlink called Webmaster. If let's say mikelong.com/SEO is for some reason linking to, actually /Miami SEO, is linking to mikelong.com/Miami web design, then Martin, this link right here is going to follow the same rules as Greg's PBN linking. So can you elaborate on that?
I would, especially like just say there's only a few links going to it and it wasn't too old of a site, which I think is more common than not. I would add a little more diversity. Like the hyperlink might be check out my page here, and then not linked would be like about Miami, about my web design in Miami or whatever. and something like that for like
So
in this
you might
stage
have
of
the
it.
phrase like on your page that's slash Miami SEO. That's this page right here that I'm moving around
Hmm.
right now. Might have non-link text. So it might have the words, I have a page on Miami web design, but what I'm saying right now is not linked. So I have a page on Miami web design where I really focus in on look and feel that really reflects the flavor of Southern Florida. Click here to check it out, and the click here is
Yep. Yep.
so at that point you're just keeping it very neutral, very calm,
Exactly.
not like
Mixed up.
pouncing on that keyword.
Exactly. And also, like in a case like this, I mean, obviously there's a million examples with, and it depends on competition, but if you're building a site out like especially this way, and there's a few pages, and you're um, do something like this and give it a little bit of time too, and just watch what it does. Like if you're watching your links, and you can even take note of what you're doing for anchor text. Use Notepad or something.
Do you do that?
I actually have a little ninja thing that I do with Notepad that's pretty cool.
Can you
But
tell me what it is?
yeah, absolutely. What I'll, but um, if you're tracking it, like if the page is somewhere in the top 100 in Google, um, you and then you add this, you can watch it, and something neutral like that should help it a little, and you can watch it. Um, if you keep building and say like you want to be a little bit more, you can watch if you actually use some keywords later and see, and then you can even remove it if it fell or something, because that can happen if you're right on that fine line. But this is how I would do it, what you just said with that. But yeah, the notepad thing, um, I'll literally just um, keep track of every anchor text I use in a website. And what I like to do is see if I've ever used a certain phrase or anything, and there might be 500 different links. And so when you open up Notepad, let me see. I always have them open. You go to Notepad, you can click on Edit, and you go to Find, and you type in a phrase, and then you just hit it, and it'll just skim the whole Notepad. And it's a pretty easy way to. I'll use like if I want to check what I have for a certain page, say it's, CrossFit workout page, or yeah, okay, web design page. Say like I have a bunch of pages with that URL that all have links to them, that like just like you have there with web design. I'll just highlight something that's only there, like WEDB-DE or something, and then I'll go to the Notepad and go to search, and that way it'll skip to just that URL the whole way down, and then I'll be able to see which anchor text I use, and I'll skim through like real quick, just all the links. There's usually only five or something, and then I'll take a look at it that way, because you forget what you put for link like 6 months ago or something, and quite often if I don't do that, I'll end up just using too much of the same anchor text and making it too optimized. If that makes sense.
It does. It really does.
But it's a funny thing, like you could think, oh, that's just a little bit too nitpicky for me. I don't want to, but you do it a few times, it gets quick. But if you're building a site out, um, those are the little things, the little extra things that they don't really take that long. But when you have one website, there could be massive potential. And so I just feel like something like that's so worth it. That little step.
All right. So, for example, let's say it might look like this. So slash Miami web design, link to slash Miami SEO, anchor text equals click here. Slash Miami ad agency, points to / Miami reputation management. And this, by the way, might be accomplished in a silo. You might not do it this way. You might have like a
Mm-hmm.
silo and a Tampa silo and a Orlando silo and so forth. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, we decided to do this way. So let's say our Miami ad agency page links to our Miami reputation management page, and the anchor text might equal your reputation in that case. And so you can search
Mm-hmm.
for stuff like reputation or your reputation. Now, sometimes
Yeah.
you'll have a site with literally hundreds of pages on it, and it might have hundreds. It might not be 2 or 3 interlinks. It might be hundreds of interlinks.
Yeah. Or thousands.
So you have some websites with literally thousands of interlinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is one of the ways, like, give me an idea of how many keywords a web, like good juicy keywords, not just long tail weird ones, but a given web page can rank for like how many keywords? Fact or fiction? A good web page can rank for 10 keywords.
What do you mean juicy? Like ones that could make 10,000 a month or
Well,
$2 a month or
I don't know. Like what do you think of as juicy?
that's
Sale a month? I don't know.
because I mean like because I don't even want to discount a keyword that could make 10 a month really, but like really juicy ones could make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 a month.
Wow.
Um,
That's
but
great. All right. Well, let's just talk about like let's say 10 sales a month, right?
mhm.
So how many keywords might you be able to rank for that might make 10 sales a month
On one website?
on one web page?
Oh, one page. For that, I'm not going to exaggerate. I would say 5 or 10 different keyword or keyword phrases. It would be a pretty good page like that.
And that's fairly normal for your website to have a number of pages that are like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, some of it might be 2, 3, 4 phrases, 5 or 10 on the good end, obviously.
Yeah.
But at least, a couple. Uh, there's always variations too. Like that's where you do the keyword research and just poke in different phrases and see what people are searching.
Yeah.
And then the thing that I mentioned earlier, I know there's a lot of different ones of these, but the WP Statistics plugin, it opens up a statistics page inside your website, and it'll tell you the exact phrases that people, and there's so many that you never thought of, and once you're getting traffic and they're coming in on search phrases, it gives you a lot of ideas,
What
a lot
keyword?
of great insights.
But by the way, what was the name of the other plugin that you said you're using?
Go codes, really common one that you see with affiliate sites.
And what keyword tools are you using? Just the Google Keyword Planner, or using TLKT?
Just the Google Planner.
Google Planner. All right. And
I'm on that thing all the time still. All the time. I just,
do you have some best practices when you're using the Google Keyword Planner?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. Never let it, I mean, unless somebody knows something I don't know, which is very possible. I definitely don't know everything. But paste in all the ones that you think it might, because it never suggests all the keywords in a certain group. So if it's not showing, because the one thing it's a little bit not great at is giving you a very refined, specific group of keywords. It throws these related ones, but if you're looking for CrossFit workouts and things like that, it'll throw in like P90X, but you're trying to find CrossFit keywords, but if you think one might get searched, type it in and check it, even if it didn't suggest it. What I'll do is I'll go to this thing called the Phrase Builder. It's I have to look at the URL here. It's tools.webmasters.sk/. let me make sure. Are you copying this, Mike, while I say it?
Yeah.
Um, yep, tools.webmaster. Oh, you got it already. sk/phrase dash builder dot php. I'll throw the keyword in. It gives you two sections, one on the left, one on the right, and you can put like one word in on the left side, and then like say CrossFit on the left, and then on the right, all the different things that might go after CrossFit, workouts, routine, whatever else, and then just hit go, and it'll make them all into phrases. So you can put like 5 words on the right, and then with one click of the button, it'll make 5 phrases that begin with CrossFit and end with the words you added. And then I just copy that and paste it into the planner. And I'll have, certain similar phrases that I go over. Maybe there's different brands like CrossFit Review, reviews, um, and all the different variations. I'll have like a notepad or whatever that has all those phrases that I always use, and then I'll just paste that in on the right side, the new brand on the left side, and hit go, and it's pretty cool.
So now you're to rank for a given keyword, the first thing you'll do is just make sure it's on the page. If you still don't
hmm
rank for it, that's where you might start doing some interlinking. And if you still can't rank for it and you think it's going to be money, then that's when you might say, Greg, you know, fix it.
Yeah.
But it'd be the same thing for anybody else. Like, you're starting on your page. First, make sure it appears naturally on that page, naturally in
hmm
text. Then, if it's still not ranking, link to it from somewhere else on your site with that. And don't rush this. It could take weeks. That's fine. Then interlink to it from another page on your site. And then if that
hmm
still doesn't work, then you can maybe fire a PBN link to it or link from another Web 2.0 or something like that.
Yep. And one of the things is, I know that Greg's patient with that stuff but it's really nobody wants to wait for something to rank, but it's really worth waiting a little bit, like of time for something. If you throw a PBN link at something, just let it chill, um, because too much can just hurt you really fast if you try too many links.
No, and Greg is saying these days that links are taking more time to kick in. This
hmm
uh,
Yeah, yeah,
what about interlinking? Is it this kind of thing where interlinking takes more time to kind of kick in? There's kind of a delay on it.
yeah. I think it's pretty similar. The way that since I shared that thing with the anchor text and I can skim over all the anchors that I have, I sort of uh, figure that anchor text on a site is similar to off, where there's similar percentages, um, where you don't want a really high percentage of specific anchor text. And so I sort of do the same thing on the site, you know, do some diversity of tech of the keywords and the anchors and um, dilute it quite a bit.
Great. Mark,
Yeah.
I think that this has been incredibly valuable. And I basically want to thank myself for thinking of having this interview because you were so freaking brilliant today.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
I hope it helps some people.
Oh man, anybody who is interested in affiliate marketing, better study this because this has been about 3.5 buckets full of awesomeness. And I mean,
Well,
just
it's really, as you know, it's really all I've been doing, and of course, I'm completely unscripted because you asked me very recently, but I don't even really, a lot of this stuff I don't consciously think of until you ask me because I was thinking, what will I say about this? And then when you asked me the questions, otherwise, because I just am in there doing it all the time.
yeah, no,
Because I pretty much have
these
just,
yeah, these questions all pretty much come from David Mills. I added this fourth one because I've spent so much time with you working on page SEO. You're so brilliant at it.
oh, one thing I wanted to add was just on that last piece that we were talking about, whatever niche you're going into, one of the things that I always do is when you search the phrase that you think that you want to rank for, and look at the site that's number one. Because there can be, it's odd, you kind of also look at what Google's likes today. You know, um, there can be some variations when you cross over to different markets and niches because that's how, Google kind of tries to give you what they're looking for. And when, if somebody's searching for buy this, it's probably going to be a different type of a page than one that is just informational. And you buy something, you look that up, you might be surprised how many affiliate type links they allow on a page. That's number one, but that's just, how it is.
Very powerful. Very, very, very powerful. All right. Well, this has been really exciting, Martin. And I want to say again, for those who are new to OMG, even in the last couple of years, he may not have met Martin up to this point. OMG at this point has so many individuals. It's a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence. I've said that till I'm blue in the face, but Martin is such
I love that.
yeah, right? And it's Martin was there at the very, very, very beginning. And of course it's a whole movement unto itself now. But in between the lines, one of the other things that's going on here is just Martin. I messaged Martin, I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago. First I messaged Greg and asked him if he thought it was a good idea, if Martin would enjoy it. But anyways, regardless, and Greg was like, yeah, for sure. And so I messaged Martin, and Martin and I are friends from way back. But, I'm very considerate, and I care about, every OMGer. And I mean, I've known Martin for so long. But anyways, I messaged Martin, and I was like, how do you feel about spilling the beans on some of these best practices? Because at this point, millions of dollars in sales on these sites that Martin and Greg have put together, and it's completely and in fairness, Martin, it has changed your life and your whole family's life.
Yeah. Well, when you were talking about, you made me think about the early days and how it transitioned from client and all this SEO to like really like predominantly affiliate stuff. I realized that one of the things that sounded really attractive to me, I mean, obviously working from home got me into the internet world, but then the idea of like something that was paying or making sales or whatever like 24/7, and that's what it does now. It just when I'm asleep, it's just making sales all night, and that never gets old.
Never gets old.
No.
Never gets old. And Martin is somebody, to give you guys some ideas. I remember one time I asked on a webinar, it was an OMG member webinar. I asked who was it that you heard from on one of the OMG webinars that made you join or that really spoke to you? And I remember several people saying Martin really did, because he would jump on the webinars with us early, and he's really had his nose to the grindstone for like about the last year or so. 2 years.
That's awesome.
About since I moved to Nashville. But there's Martin, there's no telling what you've done, who you've inspired, and Martin Martin would roll up his sleeves. He would jump on webinar after webinar, help people so much. He was teaching things about on page and so forth. And so to do this refresher video, especially now that Martin's added all this expertise, all this skill, it's so special. And I just, it's one of the things that really humbles me about OMG. And we've attracted these people. And I'll tell you this, Martin did not come out of the chute a superstar. He is today. But,
no, definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, you were, in fairness, a back to the wall guy when you got started.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
So very special thing. It's aspirational. And of course, the information has just been incredible. So I want to thank you again, Martin. OMG is a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence. And, man, it's all happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mike.
All right, appreciate
And I'm really blown away by what OMG has become. Uh, it's just amazing.
it. Awesome. All right, I'm going to wrap up the recording now.